Ready to order? Or do you need another minute? I think I will have the morning special, but is it possible to get it without the mushrooms, please? So you just want the eggs and toast then? Or did you want to swap those for something else? It is okay. No mushrooms is fine. Mark, did you hear that? That was the sound of a missed opportunity. Sarah, I have been in that exact position so many times. You are in a busy cafe, the music is loud, the server is holding a tablet and looking a bit stressed, and suddenly your brain just freezes. You know you do not want those mushrooms, but you don't know how to ask for a replacement without feeling like you are being a difficult customer. It is a very specific kind of social anxiety, especially when you are speaking your second language. You don't want to be a bother, so you just accept a boring plate of plain eggs and dry toast. But today, we are going to change that, because talking about what you want to eat is one of the most practical, real-life skills you can have. Welcome back to the channel, where we help you talk about your real life in clear, natural English. If you want to stop feeling stuck when the waiter looks at you and start ordering with total confidence every week, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss a lesson on how to handle these everyday moments. Sarah, I think the biggest problem is that most textbooks teach us very formal ways to order, like I would like the chicken, but they never teach us what to do when we want the chicken, but we want to change everything about it. You are so right, Mark. In the real world, a menu is just a starting point. Native speakers modify their orders all the time. It's not rude, it's actually very common. The key is all in the delivery. We call it the soft entry. If you start your sentence with, I want no mushrooms, it sounds like a demand. It sounds a bit aggressive. But if you use a soft entry, you're asking for a favor, and that makes the server much more likely to help you with a smile. The most powerful soft entry phrase in the English language is probably, is it possible to? Mark, let's break that down. When you say, is it possible to, you're essentially asking the server for their professional opinion. You're not telling them what to do. You're asking if the kitchen can handle a request. It's a very polite, low-pressure way to start a conversation. Try saying it out loud right now. Is it possible to? It opens the door for the server to say yes. Another great one is, could I actually? That little word actually is like a magic button. It suggests that you've been thinking about the menu and you have a specific preference. Could I actually have the dressing on the side? It sounds much softer than put the dressing on the side. When you use these soft entries, you're moving away from being a demanding customer and becoming a collaborator. Let us look at our first major modification tool, which is the swap. In the scene we just heard, the server asked if I wanted to swap the mushrooms for something else. This is where the X for Y formula comes in. You take the thing you don't want and you offer to replace it with something you do want. For example, could I swap the fries for a side salad? Or is it possible to swap the white toast for sourdough? Mark, I notice a lot of learners get confused with the word for in this context. They sometimes say swap with or swap to. While people will understand you, using for is the most natural way to do it. Think of it like a trade. I give you the fries, you give me the salad. It's a fair exchange. You can also use the word instead. Could I have a side salad instead of the fries? Both are perfect. But here's a pro tip for everyone listening. When you ask for a swap, you should always be prepared for the upcharge. An upcharge is just an extra cost. If you swap regular milk for oat milk or a side of bread for a side of avocado, the server might say, sure, but that's a $2 upcharge. A great way to show you are a fluent, confident speaker is to ask about this first. You could say, is there an extra charge to swap the fries for a salad? This shows the server that you understand how restaurants work, and you're not going to be surprised when the bill comes. It makes the whole interaction smoother for everyone.
Now, Mark, let us talk about the opposite of a swap, which is simply removing something. Sometimes you do not want a replacement, you just want something gone. Maybe you hate onions, or you are allergic to nuts, or you just really don't like mayonnaise. In the culinary world, there is a very common phrase for this, hold the. You might hear someone say, I will have the cheeseburger, hold the onions. This sounds very cool and native, but it can be a bit informal. If you are at a nice restaurant, you might want to stick to something simpler, like without or no. But here is the secret to making sure the kitchen actually listens to you. You have to be clear about why you are asking. If you have a serious allergy, you must say so. You should say, I have a severe nut allergy, so is it possible to make sure there are no walnuts in the salad? That word severe tells the server they need to be extra careful and talk to the chef. But if you just don't like the taste of something, you don't need to make it a big deal. You can just say, no onions for me, please, or I would prefer it without the mayo. Sarah, I think one of the most important things to remember when you are asking for these changes is that you should keep it simple. Don't give a 10-minute story about why you don't like onions. The server is busy. They just need the facts. The simpler your request, the less likely they are to make a mistake. Let us move on to another very common modification, which is the on-the-side request. This is the ultimate tool for someone who wants to control their meal. If you order a salad, it usually comes covered in dressing. If you order a steak, it might come with a heavy sauce. If you want to decide exactly how much of that sauce or dressing you eat, you simply ask for it on the side. Is it possible to get the dressing on the side? Or could I have the sauce in a separate container? This is a very common request in the US and the UK, so do not feel shy about asking for it. It is actually a very smart way to eat because it keeps your food from getting soggy if you are not eating it immediately. Mark, have you ever noticed how native speakers use the word just to make their requests sound even smaller and less annoying? It is such a useful word. Instead of saying, "I want the dressing on the side," you say, "I will just have the dressing on the side, please." It makes the request feel like a tiny, easy thing for the server to do. It takes the pressure off the interaction. Try to sprinkle that word "just" into your requests and see how much more natural you sound. Sometimes, though, you might run into a situation where the answer is no. Maybe you are at a very fancy restaurant where the chef is very proud of their dishes. Or maybe you are at a fast food place where everything is pre-made and they cannot change it. When a server says, "I am sorry, we don't allow substitutions," a lot of learners feel embarrassed. They feel like they did something wrong. But you didn't. It is just the restaurant's policy. The best way to handle this is with a graceful pivot. A pivot is just a quick change in direction. You can say, "No worries at all, I'll just have the dish as it is." Or you could say, "Oh, I see. In that case, let me go with the salmon instead." Using the phrase, "No worries at all," or "That's totally fine," shows that you are a relaxed, easygoing person. It keeps the energy positive. Remember, the goal of English conversation is to build a connection, not just to get your food. If you are kind and flexible when they say no, the server will appreciate it, and you will feel better about your speaking skills too. Now, let us talk about how to confirm your order. This is a crucial step that many people skip. When the restaurant is noisy and the server is moving fast, it is very easy for them to miss your request for no mushrooms. Before the server walks away, you can use a quick confirmation phrase. "Just to be sure, that was the burger with no onions, right?" Or, "Just checking, we swapped the fries for the salad?" This is not being annoying, it is being smart. It prevents the problem of the wrong food arriving at your table 20 minutes later. If you catch the mistake now, it is a 5-second fix. If you wait until the food arrives, it is a big problem. Using the phrase, "just to be sure," or "just checking," makes it sound like you are just double-checking a detail, not doubting their ability to do their job. It is a very professional way to handle the situation.
Let us practice some of these phrases together in a more structured way. I want you to imagine you are at a cafe right now. I will be the server, and I want you to try to modify your order using the patterns we just discussed. I am going to give you a moment after each of my questions to say your answer out loud. This is the shadowing part of the lesson, where you get the words out of your head and into your mouth. Ready? Here we go. "Hi there, what can I get for you today?" Now, you want the Caesar salad, but you want the dressing on the side. How would you say that using a soft entry? Go ahead. Great. You could say, "I think I will have the Caesar salad, but is it possible to get the dressing on the side?" Perfect. Let us try another one. I am the server again. "Okay, and would you like the standard side of fries with that burger?" Now, you want to swap the fries for a cup of fruit. Remember the X for Y formula. How would you ask? Nice work. You could say, "Actually, could I swap the fries for a cup of fruit?" Or, "Is it possible to have fruit instead of the fries?" Let us do one more. The server says, "And that comes with our house-made spicy mayo. Is that okay?" You really don't like spicy food. How do you tell me to remove it using the word hold? Excellent. You would say, "I will have the burger, but could you hold the spicy mayo, please?" See how much more confident you sound when you have these specific patterns ready to go? You are not searching for grammar rules. You are just using the tools that fit the situation. Sarah, I think it is also helpful to talk about the physical part of ordering. When you are in a restaurant, your body language and your eyes are just as important as your words. If you are looking down at the menu and mumbling, the server is going to struggle to hear you, especially if it's a busy Saturday morning. Try to make eye contact when you ask for your modification. Give a small smile. When you are asking for a swap, use a bit of an upward inflection at the end of your sentence, so it sounds like a polite question rather than a command. It's the difference between saying, swap this for that, and saying, could I swap this for that? The second one sounds much more inviting. And don't forget the power of the word please. It sounds simple, but in the rush of a busy morning, people sometimes forget it. A please at the beginning or the end of your request changes everything. Is it possible to get no butter, please? It makes you the kind of customer that servers want to help. Let us think about some other common modification scenarios outside of the breakfast cafe. What if you are at a pizza place? You might want to ask for half and half. Is it possible to do half pepperoni and half cheese? Or what if you are at a coffee shop and you want your drink extra hot or with a specific kind of milk? I would like a latte, but could I get that with oat milk and extra hot, please? What if you are at a steakhouse and you want to specify exactly how your meat is cooked? That's a modification too. I will have the ribeye, medium rare, please. Each of these situations uses the same core logic. Start with a soft entry, state your specific change clearly, and finish with a polite confirmation. Mark, I have noticed that a lot of people also struggle with the vocabulary of quantities. Like, what if you just want a little bit of something? You can use words like a touch of or a splash of. Could I have a splash of milk in my tea? Or is it possible to get just a touch of salt on the side? These small words help you be much more precise. Instead of just saying milk, you are saying exactly how much milk. This is the level of English that makes you move from a B1 learner to a truly fluent speaker. You are expressing nuance. You are expressing exactly what you want. Another important part of the dining experience is the check or the bill. Sometimes when you make a lot of modifications, the bill can get a little complicated. If you see something on the bill that looks wrong, you don't need to be afraid to ask about it. You can use your soft entry phrases here too. Excuse me, is it possible to check the bill again? I think we might have been charged for the salad twice. Or just checking, was there an extra charge for the avocado? Using these polite questions allows the server to fix the mistake without feeling attacked. Most of the time, it's just a simple button they forgot to press on their computer. If you stay calm and polite, it gets resolved in seconds. This is all part of the same skill set, being able to talk about your needs in a way that is clear and respectful.
So let us recap the main points we have covered today. First, always start with a soft entry, like, is it possible to? Or, could I actually? This sets a polite tone for the whole interaction. Second, use the X for Y formula when you want to swap one item for another, and always be prepared for a potential upcharge. Third, use hold the or without when you want to remove an item, and be very clear if you are dealing with a severe allergy. Fourth, use the on the side request to keep control over your dressings and sauces. Fifth, if they say no to your request, have a pivot ready so you can move on gracefully. And finally, always confirm your order before the server leaves to make sure everyone is on the same page. If you can master these 5 steps, you will never have to eat a meal you don't like ever again. You will be the master of the menu. I want to give you a little challenge for this week. The next time you go to a cafe or a restaurant, even if you are in your home country and not speaking English, I want you to practice the mindset of modification. Look at the menu and think, how would I ask for this with no onions in English? Or how would I ask to swap these chips for a salad? If you feel brave and you are in an English-speaking environment, actually do it. Ask for one small change. Ask for the dressing on the side, or ask for extra ice in your water. The goal is to get used to the feeling of making a request. The more you do it, the less scary it becomes. Every time you successfully modify an order, your confidence in your English will grow. You are proving to yourself that you can handle real-world situations and that you have the power to communicate your needs. Mark, do you have any final advice for our listeners as they head out to their next meal? I would just say, don't worry about being perfect. If you forget the exact phrase, just remember to be polite. A smile and a please go a long way, even if your grammar isn't 100% correct. The server is there to help you, and as long as you are respectful of their time and their work, they will be happy to make sure you have a great meal. You are doing the hard work of learning a new language, and every time you speak up for yourself, you are making progress. So go out there, be specific about what you want, and enjoy your food. That is a great note to end on. Remember, speaking English is not just about passing a test or studying grammar in a book. It is about living your life. It is about ordering the food you love, making friends, and feeling at home in the world. We are so glad you joined us for this lesson today. If you found these tips helpful and you feel a little more ready to head to brunch this weekend, please give this video a like and share it with a friend who is also working on their English. It really helps us reach more learners like you. And don't forget to subscribe so you can join us next week for another deep dive into the English you need for your real life. We will be talking about how to handle another common situation. But until then, keep practicing, keep speaking, and most importantly, keep enjoying the process. You are doing great, and we will see you in the next one. Happy ordering, everyone. Have a wonderful, delicious week.